So good morning. I am out on a walk in a different neighborhood today for my morning exploration and listening to the birds chirp and just reflecting before my day gets started. And it's kind of interesting. I'm seeing some properties that I've sold in years past, and I've forgotten just how quiet some of these Mableton neighborhoods are. This particular street I've sold and or leased a few homes. I hadn't been here in a while. And I wanted to point out, one, how quiet it is. You guys can hear the birds. Two, how big these lots really are. And a lot of the buyers want the newer houses. They like that new construction look with the quartz countertops, and they like the tile baths and things like that. They like privacy that some houses can give, but they're very expensive for what they are. Homes like these that are renovated have a ton of charm. They usually don't like them because they feel old. And you have to consider what is considered old. Because a house like this, built in the 70s, if it was placed in New York, Connecticut, Boston, it would be a relatively new home. It'd only be around 50 years old. They have homes that are closer to 200 years old. And I'm saying all this to say that Instagram plays a huge role, as well as social media in general, and TV and videos and things, and people's psyche as to what real estate should look like. They look at these multi-million-dollar homes, like this one because it has a really long driveway. They look at these multi-million-dollar homes, these perfectly, it's another private driveway, go into a house back there. They look at these homes and they're just like, I've got to have that. They have to have that sense of achievement, and that if they don't have it, that they're less than. But they're not. These people here have some of the most beautiful real estate when you take time to look. Sorry, I'm heavy breathing because I am walking slightly up a hill. But they have landscape. They have beautiful mature trees. They have foresight brick. They're sitting on a half acre or larger, right? One level and a half home, 2-story home, They have basically their own style, their own flair, their own fit and finish. That one has a newer roof. That one looks kind of like a mid-century modern style. And it's a quiet street. You don't see people parking along the street. The neighborhood's very quiet. You don't have a lot going on. Kids can come outside and play, you can have your dog out and about. Yes, now there's something to be said for being able to walk downstairs to your dry cleaners, to the corner store, or what have you. But at the same time, who wants to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning with somebody screaming and homeless people peeing on the side of their building? That's just my opinion. As a real estate agent, I help people get what they want. But a lot of times, they overlook things that would be perfectly fine. In Mableton here, you take any one of these brick homes and you put them in Brookhaven, Buckhead, Sandy Springs, Dunwoody, anywhere else, and they're 4 or 5 times the price for the same exact home. They're immaculate, beautiful lawns, updated fixtures and features. But here, just let's call it 30 minutes away, it's the same exact house. Not as shiny and tony, not as spaffy, but it's the same thing. Now, people may say, well, Jackye, if I'm in Sandy Springs or Brookhaven or Dunwoody or Buckhead or what have you, I have amenities. I have proximity to high-end things. There's better schools. There's basically there, as I like to say, there. There's things there to do. But my counter argument would be true. You have everything else there too. You have constant noise, extremely high taxes, which we all know are just gonna go up. They never go down. The cost to insure your home goes up because the replacement value is higher to some degree, and the fit and finishes of your home are more expensive because you're trying to keep up with the Joneses. Now, some people might say this here is trashy. They park on the grass, they got a cracked driveway, they got every type of flower known to man in their yard, they got vegetation here on the road they need to trim up. All true. However, there is pride here in this home because they have their garden. Because they put pride, they got a new roof on their house. And they're able to live how they want to live because how they live is very affordable. Another house there, beautiful wrap-around porch. Another corner lot, brick beauty with a new roof. You don't have to have a big, gigantic house to feel like you've arrived. You don't have to have a big, fancy surroundings to feel like you belong. Really, all any of us needs is just to be comfortable and then grow from there. If you've got a Buckhead home that looks like this, you've got something. You got something of value. But do you need a home in Buckhead to live like this? No. Just some of my views here on this walk. This nice, humid, 76-degree weather we've got out here. My point is, don't turn down an area simply because of how it looks. Be the change that you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in your neighborhood, in your community. If schools are of importance to you, get involved in the schools where your children are going to attend. Don't just simply rely on school scores to be the determinant factor as to where you invest your dollars, right? If your kid has special needs, of course, move into the area that's going to support their level of education that they need and encouragement and development. But if you have a kid that's smart, they're going to thrive anywhere and everywhere. Get them the tools that they need. I'm not saying don't buy in Buckhead, but I see people with 2 and 3 kids. They spend upwards of $600,000-$700,000 to be in these areas of affluence so that they can be around a center of influence. They want their children to connect with other affluent children so they themselves will also have influence and connection, which is fine. The kids are kids. Kids develop at a faster rate than most adults, so they can basically do well and flourish no matter where they go. But anyway, I'm rambling. But I just wanted to say, don't overlook the possibilities in your areas that are not as tony, not as shiny, pretty, or have as much pizzazz. Because at the end of the day, it's just 4 sides of wood sitting on dirt. And that's all it'll ever be. So good morning.